right, rocking and rolling with this next episode. And as I've started, well, let me get the fucking microphone set up because that is not optimal. Peyton fucked it up. Bring it across like that. That'll work. I think we should be good here. I think so. Anyway, okay. So as I've started off every podcast episode so far is with the shoe of the podcast and the significance of said shoe to said podcast and the significance of this shoe. So basically, I guess I'll introduce what the central theme of this video is going to eventually be about. I got a couple things I want to talk about first, but this is going to be kind of more of a like a rant style podcast, I guess, in a way. And I know people love it when I do that. So I hope it's as entertaining as one would want it to be, but we'll see. But anyway, so the central theme of this podcast is going to be about, and I can't stress this enough. I really don't want this to be cliche or pandering to anybody or any kind of bullshit like that. And I'll clarify what I mean by this. But long story short, what this podcast is about, what this episode is about, is just diligent, really hard fucking work and why it's important, and some of the things that I've been seeing just societally and, you know, like from a viral perspective online and things like that, that are just rapidly moving out of that direction and promoting the exact opposite of that. And to me, it's extremely alarming. It's something that I just see society going in a very negative direction. And I want to point some things out and explain some observations that hopefully will make people understand that this is not a good way of thinking. And I'll explain why. But so the relevance of the shoe, I guess I should say, is these shoes, this elephant print Jordan 1, these were purchased the same year that I went fully independent. I started my business and went fully independent. I started my business before this, but I also had a separate job where I had, you know, kind of a steady income with my separate job, because with my own business, I would not have made enough money to fucking survive. So, but it was a huge stepping stone. It was a very, integral aspect of my life. And it was a really important time in my life for myself, for my own personal growth, for my business. And all of that required a lot of hard work. And this was actually this was my first pair of Jordan 1s. Might have been my first pair of Jordans, to be quite honest with you, in my adult life, that I purchased for myself anyway. But it was the year that I started my business and went fully independent. And the reason that I purchased these particular shoes at the time was because I will never forget this. I don't remember where I bought them, but I will never forget the price point. I remember the price point of almost every shoe I've ever purchased. This shoe I purchased for $59.99. This is a Jordan 1 high. It's not a mid. If anybody knows anything about sneakers, you would know, like, it's relatively standard to find a Jordan 1 mid at a pretty cheap price point. But even now, you can't even really find those very cheap anymore. But it's a Jordan 1 high, as you can see, and I got it for fucking $59.99, which is insane. This shoe currently, I looked it up earlier, dead stock or never worn is a more layman term for for what it means to be a dead stock shoe. Dead stock, this shoe currently goes for, like, if I remember correctly, it was $265. I just looked it up and I already kind of forgot. But yeah, it's like a $265 shoe now. Granted, mine are beat up and they've been worn a lot and stuff, so they're not worth shit anymore. But brand new, this is a $265 shoe now. Whereas just, a handful of years ago when I started my business, this was I got it for $60. So I've never seen. This is the cheapest Jordan 1 high that I have ever seen in my entire life. And the reason that I purchased it, not only just because it was cheap, it was literally because that's what, at the time, that's what I could afford. At that time, I really shouldn't have been buying any shoes, and I didn't buy a lot because I couldn't justify spending the money on them, because I wasn't making very much money. I didn't have any, a substantial amount of disposable income, so I was unable to purchase a lot of shoes, although I was obviously very enthusiastic back then, as the same way I am now. Now I can afford them, so whatever. Anyway, but it also goes to show that, in this, I'm getting completely off topic here, but it also goes to show that, like, sneakerheads aren't as fucking dumb as they look. They're not just like frivolous, and some of them maybe are, but like, it's not necessarily like a frivolous expenditure. If you're smart about it, like, it's an investment. Like I said, if I had bought these shoes for $60, this was in 2015. If I would have bought these at $60 and never worn them, they would be worth, you do the math on that, whatever 265 is, that's a massive increase. Again, we're talking about a couple $100 here and there. It's no big deal, but at the end of the day, when you extrapolate that off of over a huge collection of shoes, it's a good investment. They appreciate in value, and as you can see, that's a pretty large appreciation of value over time. So anyway, but the point is, the relevance of this shoe to this particular episode, again, is that it was the year that I started my business. Well, really, and when I went into fully independent with my business. And so it will signify kind of what the rest of this episode is going to be about for the most part. So let me put it in the little, little TV guy over here, the little display. Blind, I can't tell if it looks cool. Useful. It'll play. We're going to go with it. All right. So, this is going to be another episode I'm not going to go super, super long with this. And it's just me. I don't have a guest. So, as you can tell, this is my second episode in a row with no guest. I will get back to bringing guests on the show. I'm just working out some kinks, and this is just one that kind of came up out of the blue, and there wasn't really a need for a guest on this one, but this is probably a topic that will come up again on this podcast, and it probably will come up with certain guests. So before I dive directly into the main content of this podcast, yet again, I'm going to continue discussing things that are not relevant to that. So for one, I'm leaving the door open, literally. That's not a metaphor. I'm leaving the actual physical door to this room open tonight so that Bruce can kind of come in and out if he wants. I normally try to kind of barricade the dogs in a different part of the house so that they don't interrupt, they don't bark, they don't get in the way and whatever. It's not been super successful, but I decided I'm not going to do this permanently, but this for this episode at least, and maybe going forward, we'll see. I don't really know. I'm just going to let the big dude just kind of come in and out if he decides he wants to. So I don't know. Might have Bruce come in. The reason, and part of what I want to talk about briefly anyway. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail. I'm not going to get too crazy because I'll start getting emotional, and not that I have a huge following for this podcast or anything, but I would prefer that not everybody see me get that vulnerable. So anyway, I think if you know me well, you know where I'm going with this. Just under 2 weeks ago, Macy, my female English Mastiff, passed away, and to some people that might not sound like a big deal or anything that I need to discuss. I think to a greater percentage of people, they do understand, and it is something that it is maybe significant, would be significant to them, but to me it's like wildly significant. And that dog was I've never loved anything in my entire life the way I love that dog. No human, no dog, no nothing. Like nothing compares. I don't know that anything honestly ever will. Her and I've been through a ton together. Again, as silly as that might sound to some people, I don't really fucking care. Like, we'd been through a ton together. She'd experienced a lot as well as myself, and we did it together. And aside from that, it's just like the amount of love that dog had to give was seemingly limitless, and it was just something that I desperately needed. And losing her is the hardest thing I've ever experienced, and there's like literally nothing compares. It happened very, very quickly. She started to suffer at the very, very end, but very, very briefly before before I made the decision to do what I had to do. And it was a very, very difficult decision, but it was the right thing. And I was with her at the end. And I've literally already said more than I had planned to say on that topic. So, I'm not going to go too much further with it. But, the reason I'm leaving the door open is it's obviously had a very profound effect on me. It will continue to have a profound effect on me. But it's also had a profound effect on Bruce, and it's been very noticeable, and it's been very difficult for me to watch him go through the same type of adjustment that I'm going through. And it's hard to understand what a dog's thinking, obviously. So it's hard to determine, if it's just confusion or sadness, or if he really knows exactly what the deal is or anything like that. But anyway, like the big dude, I've been giving him as much extra attention as I can, which is a lot. Working from home, he's constantly getting attention, with clients, they're paying attention to him. I'm paying attention to him. So I've been, going out of my way to, have him socialize with other dogs and people and stuff as well since the whole thing went down. So I'm doing the best I can, but you can tell he's just, he's as affected by it as I am, and it just breaks my heart. So I don't like to really leave him alone much, at least not for a while. And so I'm gonna leave the door open, and if he wants to come in, fuck it. If it interrupts the podcast, fuck it. Cool. I think everybody's cool with that. I think everyone would probably be more excited to see him on this fucking thing than me anyway. So anyway, okay. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. I'm actually pretty fucking proud of myself for keeping it together through that little quick little monologue. So anyway, moving on. I have really very little prepared in terms of where like the direction that the rest of this podcast is gonna go. I haven't really rehearsed this in my head at all. I never have any kind of like bullet points, or I don't really have much of a strategy going into any of these episodes. It's also a lot easier when I do have a guest, because we're just having a conversation. And now that I don't, it kind of like, it's like I'm freestyling. I just got to go off the dome here. But the central theme of this, as I mentioned earlier, is this concept that's becoming more and more elusive in society. And it's frankly, like, when you are as analytical of a person as I am, it's kind of terrifying. It's actually, it's extremely terrifying. But the concept of hard work and earning fucking anything, really, like earning your way through life, has become an elusive concept. And I think in a way it's actually helped people who are very much pro hard work and, all of that. Like, I think there's a certain demographic of people that are actually like more prone to look for things like this. But it's also just, the way information gets spread in society today is so fast and so efficient, and oftentimes very subliminal in a way. And I think it gets in people's heads that you wouldn't have even expected it to get into. And I think it starts to have an effect that's completely subconscious. And, like meme culture, for example, like people, you see people, memes used to be just like basically like a funny picture, right? And then like some kind of verbiage that enhanced why the picture was funny. And of course, like anything, meme culture has evolved to the point that a lot of memes, I'd probably say more than 50% of memes at this point, are not necessarily driven by comedy. It's more so, a lot of it's driven in the way of, I don't know, I mean, like profundity. It's like people trying to make a point, or people trying to express their feelings and get people to identify with their feelings about specific topics and things like this. And it's a lot of opinions that are spun into meme form. And because we're so used to like laughing and engaging in a lighthearted way with memes, I think it's almost kind of subliminally gotten people to like believe shit that they wouldn't have otherwise believed in. And again, I think over time, the more and more that you engage with some of these things, I think you start to lose yourself a little bit, and you start to believe in things that are just almost nonsensical. Or maybe they're not nonsensical, but it's like taking you away from who you really are. Anyway, the way I'm describing this is a little bit convoluted, but I've seen a bunch of memes recently that are, how do I word this? They're trying to be profound, and they're trying to get a message across about work being like a toxic thing. I see it all over the place. I've seen actually several different memes that all fall into this exact same category, trying to portray the same message, that overworking is toxic and we should stop normalizing working ourselves to death. And capitalism is so bad because it's basically you just work your ass off 70, 80 hours a week so that your boss can get rich and they just pay you pennies. And all of these these concepts about like, we should just be relaxing more. We should just be chilling more. We should quit glorifying overworking or working in general or whatever. Like, and every fucking time I see this, and here's something about me, not that anybody, I don't know, maybe some people give a fuck. I don't know if you do or you don't, but something about me is I am a like hyper logical, hyper rational thinking individual. Feelings, although are important at times and in certain spaces, have no bearing on my decision making, my thought processes, my opinion forming, none of that. Never. Like people's feelings, my own feelings, anybody's feelings on anything, I completely remove that. And it's not something that I consciously do. That's just how my mind works. And I know there's a lot of people out there that can relate to this. So like, regardless of if I read something, regardless of what I read or what I see in a video or whatever, regardless of how it makes me feel, my brain automatically starts looking for facts, hard facts, like undeniable truths, not how did this video make me feel? Like, I think a lot of people, and now I'm going to go like off on a completely different tangent. I remember my mom used to watch, what the fuck is that show with the super, super fat people that lose weight? The Biggest Loser, right? She used to watch The Biggest Loser and would get like emotional watching the show. And I would just sit there and observe, and I'm like, you realize the only reason you're getting emotional right now is because of the background music. Literally. And I could say this for like a lot of different shit, like a lot commercials, shows, YouTube videos, you name it. You can literally change the entire mood of what you're watching based on what music is playing in the background, right? And I think now that I'm saying this, I think it's going to spark in people's mind, and they're going to be like, oh shit, that's a good point. Go do it. Like literally, you can create this yourself. Just watch a video of anything and put different types of music that create different types of moods into the background and mute the actual video, and that video will affect you completely differently. Like if you removed all of the musical audio from the show The Biggest Loser, not one single fucking episode would ever create any form of emotion for anyone. It would literally just be a bunch of fat people working out and then getting on a scale. That's it. It would not be entertaining. Maybe, I mean, if it's entertaining, it would be a fraction of put it this way, the people who do the music for shows like that should be getting paid as much money as anybody else involved. And I see through that shit instantaneously the second I'm watching anything. And listen, man, some things you just want to be entertained by. Some things you want to create that kind of mood for yourself, and that's fine. I'm not saying that like you should just look objectively and logically into everything, even if you're just watching a movie. Nah, man, like, yeah, you can chill and let the music take you on a journey and get emotional from something because of the music. That's fine, but I'm not even hating on The Biggest Loser. I'm just hating on what I'm trying to point out is that people are way too easily manipulated into forming opinions based on the way things feel, to the point that you can literally watch a show and think that it's insanely profound and insanely emotional and whatever, when in reality, if you just took the music out of that show, it would not have that effect on you whatsoever, period. That's how easy it is to manipulate your mind into believing something that you wouldn't otherwise not have believed. So again, I know that kind of got slightly off topic here, but I feel it's somewhat relevant to what I'm referring to. So these memes talking about, you know, we need to start glorifying things like self-care and relaxation and this and that. And not that I think that that's wrong. I think all of that's accurate, but not at the expense of the quote unquote glorification of hard work, and or what they're labeling in these memes with this ideology of quote unquote overworking, or the concept of capitalism being bad and a toxic system that creates you working yourself to the bone to let some lazy boss make all the money while you're not making anything. That's the most obscene and absurd, frankly comical ideology I've literally ever heard in my entire fucking life. You want to talk about toxic? For fuck's sake, man. Like listen, hard work, nobody is telling you that you have to work hard. No one. Literally, in a capitalistic society, in a meritocracy, where everything you do is based on the work that you put into it. And frankly, that's exactly what capitalism absolutely is. And that's exactly what our American society is based around. The harder you work, as long as you're also working smart, there is a distinction between the two, and you need both. You can fucking literally do anything in this country. Everyone. Regardless of your gender, regardless of your race, regardless of anything, you are capable of literally doing anything. Sorry, I'm also doing laundry in the room next door, so having the door open is why you may have heard those little beeps. You're literally capable of fucking doing anything. And whether or not you achieve at a certain level has nothing to do with anything other than the amount of work that you put in, the efficiency of the work that you put in, the intellect behind the work that you put in, period. That's it. Everyone has the same opportunities. Don't ever come at me claiming that we don't, that people don't, that there's anyone that doesn't have the same opportunity. Your outcome may be different, but that has nothing to do with anybody but yourself. We all have, the opportunities are there. I can list off a million different anecdotes that prove this point. We've all heard them. I don't need to go there. But at the end of the day, nobody is telling you that you are required to work extremely, really, really, really hard or extremely long in order to do anything. You don't have to have a job at all. You don't have to do anything if you don't want. You can literally sit on your fucking ass and do nothing the rest of your life. Nobody's going to bother you about it. No one. I mean, your family probably will, because they probably want more for you. But nobody is telling you that you're required to do that. If you were working, let's just put it this way. If you were working a job where you're working yourself to the bone 70, 80 plus hours a week and sacrificing all the luxuries that life has to offer, and you're making hardly any money, and your boss is getting rich off of you, and your boss is not working at the same level or above the same level that you are, here's an idea. Quit that fucking job. Go get a different one. And yes, it is that simple. Literally. under any circumstances. It is literally that fucking simple. It's the same thing. Like everybody that wants to talk about like minimum wage is too low. It's not enough to sustain blah, 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 fucking blah. We need a $15 minimum wage. Okay. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? If we all got paid more money, we would all be able to live, right? No, you're a fucking idiot. If you really believe that that's how this works. What happens is the cost of goods go up. What about the people who are currently making $15 an hour that are already substantially more qualified to do your minimum wage job? Are they going to get paid $30 an hour now? No, I don't think they are. What are the business owners who have worked themselves to the bone that gave you the opportunity for that job in the first place? What are they going to do when they're no longer making a profit because they have to pay your unqualified ass to do this bullshit job? What do you think they're going to do? There's a couple different options. One, increase the prices of everything to the point that we're right back in the same boat. Two, don't have as many people on your payroll, so eliminate a bunch of jobs. That's probably the most likely to happen. I mean, what do you think happened? Like, how do you think this works? You have to think things through a little bit further than to just say, yeah, we should all make more money. Sure. I would love to make more money. Everyone wants to make more money. The problem is there's plenty of opportunity for every single individual in this entire country and in other countries as well. Not as many as we have here in the United States, but everyone has the capability of stepping their shit up and making plenty of money. If you're in a job that's making minimum wage, leave that job and go get a different one. Literally. Like I said, that is absolutely capable. You could have done that during the pandemic. When the economy was fucked, you could have done that. That's how many jobs there are available in the United States of America. You can go work less hours, do a job that's less menial, and make more money, and you could get hired at that job probably today if you wanted to. It might not be your dream job. You're not going to be a fucking executive for Microsoft. You know what I mean? Like that's not how that works, or whatever. I don't know what your fucking dream job is, but you're probably not going to get your dream job unless you have the qualifications for that dream job. But at the same time, there's plenty of jobs that require almost no qualifications whatsoever that will do on-job training that you're getting paid for that pay you plenty of money, no matter who you are, period. And they're always looking for people to hire. And since I'm not just having an open discussion with an individual, I'm not going to sit here and take the time to list those things off. I'm not your your job recruiter. I'm not going to go help find you a job, but frankly, just open your fucking eyes and go look. But at the end of the day, like if you want to claim that we're over glorifying hard work and that we need to start glorifying things like, shorter work weeks and, relaxation and more vacation time, more all of this and that, and all this like taking a step back and self-actualization, blah, 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 all these little buzzwords that everybody loves to listen to that sound beautiful on the surface. Keep in mind what that would entail. Okay? So like, let's just think of things like vacation, for example. Everybody loves vacation. Everybody wants to glorify vacation and go on vacation all the time. And we need more vacation time. We need to stop focusing so much on working and blah, blah, blah. We need to go on vacation. Well, where do you go on vacations? Do you stay in a hotel? Maybe. How do you think that hotel came into existence? That hotel came into existence because somebody, or more likely a big group of people, worked their fucking fingers to the bone to make that a reality. People don't just wake up and think, feel like we need more hotels, and then snap their goddamn fingers and then a hotel exists. That requires an obscene amount of work for one hotel to exist. A chain of hotels, that much more work, that much more risk, that much more overworking. So your little vacation that you get to enjoy is at the expense of somebody working their fucking balls off. Think about something. Let's take something that's so much more trivial than a hotel. Let's just say you like to use face masks or bath bombs. Some of this goofy shit that most of you girls like to do. There's guys out there doing it too. They just don't post about it as freely, I don't think. Anyway, self-care, right? Where do you think those objects come from? Again, much smaller scale, but it came from a business that was started by a person who decided, I'm going to work my fucking ass off and put a ton of money on the line and a bunch of risk on the line and kill myself to create something that other people want because there's a demand for it so that I can make money off of it. That's how society works. Those things that are giving you the ability to relax and take a step back and exercise your ability to self-care or whatever the fuck you want to call it, all came into existence because somebody decided to work their fucking ass off. What about the house or the apartment that you live in? Do you think that those things just came out of nowhere? Those just always existed. They were always there and we just decided to move into them and call it our home? No, all of these things require obscene amounts of work. All of it does. And what's wrong with that? Ask any clinical psychologist. I don't claim to be one. I don't claim to know shit. But ask any of them what the number one most important thing correlated with happiness, or people who are less likely to have things like depression or anxiety or whatever. The most important thing is purpose, the word purpose. And purpose comes from, again, all of this is correlated. Purpose comes from your job. What you do for a living gives you purpose. And the more effort you put into what you do, even if it doesn't necessarily translate to more money, it does translate to a greater sense of purpose. And it will eliminate, not necessarily eliminate, I should definitely not say eliminate, but it will definitely decrease the likelihood that you're going to experience things like depression or anxiety, or even things like drug addiction. If you're constantly working and constantly bettering yourself and you're constantly putting effort into something that's bigger than you constantly have a sense of, you have all of the things that you're trying to replace with, again, things like drugs and whatnot. You have all those endorphins. You have all of that, all of the different hormone fluctuations that make you feel good and give you a sense of worth and, again, give you purpose. Going to a menial job that you can't fucking stand and putting in the bare minimum effort and the bare minimum time and things like that. You have purpose and you have a job, and so cool, you did the bare minimum, congratulations, thumbs up, but you're probably not going to feel that great about yourself as compared to somebody who's putting in maximum amount of effort and bettering themselves and growing and creating a bigger sense of purpose for themselves. And again, all of that automatically directly correlates with your growth within that industry or other industries. It gives you more credibility, even if you decide you want to leave that job. It gives you experiences and it gives you things that make you more valuable to a different company or entity or whoever, whatever it is. It gives you life skills that if you even want to just start your own business, you're more likely to succeed because you're practicing things that are more likely to make the new business that you're deciding to start more successful. So literally, quote unquote, over glorifying overworking or however you want to word it, however these memes are going that everybody seems to be agreeing with, it's not toxic. It's the exact opposite of toxic. Because again, at the end of the day, let's say you're a person who doesn't thrive in that situation. Frankly, I don't know that there's anyone who doesn't thrive in a situation where they're dedicated to something and they're working towards something that's bigger than them and putting in a lot of effort and doing the best that they can and working their way up. Let's say that you don't work well in a situation like that. Then don't. That's fine. But don't say that we are over glorifying it if somebody else decides that they want to do it. Like, if you want to be a person who clocks in and clocks out at the exact time you're supposed to be there and the exact time that you're supposed to leave and put in bare minimum effort every single day at your job and make menial amount of money, and if you're happy with that, if you're happy just chilling and relaxing all the time and taking all this self-care time, who told you that you can't? Who told you that you had to be, just constantly grinding and pushing yourself and not taking time off and not taking vacations. And who told you that you had to do that? Nobody. You know how many fucking menial jobs there are out there that yeah, sure, they may not pay a lot of money, but you don't have to put a lot of effort into it, and you could probably make a livable wage. Totally fine with that. But at the end of the day, man, you also have to keep in mind a couple of other things. The human population is always growing, right? Life expectancy continues to increase. More people are here. Put it this way. When I was born, which, for fuck's sake, feels like a long time ago now, but when I was born, there was approximately 6 billion people on the planet. If I'm not mistaken. I would look it up, but I'm Instagram live in it over here. I can't even see who's logged in, by the way. Approximately 6 billion people on the planet when I was born 34 years ago. In a matter of 34 years, which in the scope of all of humanity is a literal nanosecond, we've already grown our population to over 8 billion, if I'm not mistaken, at this point. That's a massive percentage increase in a very short period of time. There's always those numbers are going to continue to grow. And what happens in any society when there are more people? There becomes more competition. I'm not going to get into immigration, but we have the best fucking country in the world. And if anyone wants to fucking challenge me on that, first of all, just don't. But if you want to, we can have that discussion. We live in the best country in the world, in the best time to live in the best country in the world right now, period. Nothing's ever been easier. We're not more divided than ever. That's absurd. That's hilarious. That's media fucking nonsense. But at the end of the day, what happens is we have an immigration issue. We have more people wanting to. The reason we have an immigration issue is because everyone wants to be here. Why would you not? You're better off being here than you are anywhere else, right? You have more freedoms. You have more opportunities. You have more, you have a better education. You have all of these different things. That's why everyone wants to come into this country, and we have to monitor immigration. Of course, there are a lot of countries who don't have immigration issues. Do you know why? It's because no one fucking wants to go there. Point being, population is not only also always growing as a result of people are now living longer lives and life expectancy is increasing and things like that, and medical technology is always improving, and just standard evolution of society in general. Yeah, that's always going to create a larger population. But the fact that we live in the United States, where everybody wants to be, there's more people coming here. And when there are more people here, that creates more competition. So all of these jobs, now we are also creating jobs at a fast pace to keep up with those things. And so that's fine. But at the end of the day, the point being, there's more competition. So when you are in any kind of industry that's increasing in its competitiveness due to sheer number of people that want these particular jobs, should we or should we not be, quote unquote, glorifying hard work? Well, I would say that, yeah, we should be glorifying hard work. We should be fucking proud of extremely hard work. We should be proud of people who are willing to do more hard work than we ourselves are. Of course we should glorify those things. Why in the fuck would we not glorify those things? All of the okay, listen, all the people that you look up to in your life. I can't speak for any one of you individually that's watching on the live video, that's watching on YouTube, that's listening on the, on Spotify or whatever else. I can't speak for any of you, but I frankly, all of the people that you look up to, think about why you look up to them. Why do you idolize any of the people who you idolize? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who it is. If it's a professional athlete, if it's a musician, if it's an actor, actress, even if it's just like a fucking social media influencer. It doesn't matter who it is, regardless of who you're idolizing, there's a reason that you idolize or you look up to or you admire that person. And I guarantee you that it's not because that person's just sitting around chilling. Promise you that. To be honest with you, you would not have a fucking clue who that person is if that's what they were known for or what they were doing. You wouldn't have a clue. You wouldn't have an opportunity to admire them because there would be nothing to admire. Do we admire anybody who just sits around and does the same fucking boring shit that we are easily capable of doing on our own? No. Think of like the most influential people in the world who people admire at the highest levels. Anybody. I mean, you fucking name it. And listen, I'll be completely bipartisan on this. We can use Donald Trump or I'll even use Biden. Either one. Not a fan of Biden. Trump's whatever. But I can tell you for a fact that both dudes, to get to the position that they've gotten to, had to work their fucking nutsack off for a really long time. Worked their nutsack off for a really fucking long time. They overworked. It was glorified to the point that they became the most powerful person on planet Earth. Like I said, it's a little scary that Biden is at this point in time. But whatever. Just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean it's wrong. But at the end of the day, these are the most powerful people on planet Earth. Did they get there by just sitting there chilling? No. And let's just use a lot less divisive example. Let's take Michael Jordan. Everybody looks up to Michael Jordan, right? Everybody. I don't know anyone who knows who Michael Jordan is and thinks, I don't really think much of him. What did he do? Why would I admire someone like Michael Jordan? I think everybody can agree that's a person that we should all probably have some admiration for, even if you're not a fan of basketball or whatever. Do you think that Michael Jordan sat on his ass and glorified the times of his life where he just chilled and hung out? Or do you think Michael Jordan is glorified due to the fact that he worked tirelessly his entire life to reach the apex of what he did that then transcended him into the apex of multiple other industries where he's still on top, even though he retired like 20 years ago? I think you understand where I'm going with this, and I could give you hundreds of other examples. And the fact of the matter is, just in the couple that I've given you so far, I'm sure your head is spinning with different examples of people who you admire. And the fact of the matter is, every fucking single one of them has worked their absolute ass off to get to a point where they have reached a level of admiration by other people. So, yeah, if you really want to make something of yourself, if you really want to do something, if you really want to be looked up to, and maybe you don't give a shit about that, but at the end of the day, do you want a sense of purpose? Do you want to achieve at a higher level? Do you want to bitch and complain about how you don't make enough money, or do you want to do something that's going to create your ability to make more? Because all of those things lead to hard fucking work. Should we be glorifying that? Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely we should. There's a reason why we've been glorifying quote-unquote overworking. What your definition of overworking is probably not the same as everybody else's. You know, if you're a person that thinks that we are glorifying overworking, you probably don't work very fucking hard. And you're probably pretty upset about where you are in life. And you probably really wish you were somewhere else in life. And I'll tell you this, if that's the case, you have every opportunity to do something about it and fix the problem. You absolutely do. I don't care what race, what gender, what your political beliefs are, what you look like, any of that. If you are in a situation that you don't want to be in, that you feel the need to bitch and moan about, you have the ability to fucking do something about it. But guess what? That thing that you're upset about people glorifying is the exact thing that's going to be necessary for you to get to that point. Period. Like, yeah, aimless hard work with no direction behind it. Yeah, that can be stupid. You can be spinning your wheels, etc. But if you're working hard and you know what you're doing and you're doing a good job of it and you're always improving what you're doing, which is a huge aspect of hard work, you will progress. It will happen. There's a reason why each age demographic has a higher level of income as you get older. That's not an accident. And it's because people work and then they progress. And the people who are at the top of that food chain, everybody's got a problem with all these rich people. Everyone's got a problem with rich people. Why? What did rich people do to you? You're mad because rich people have a bunch of things and opportunities of things that you just don't have. The reason that they have it is because they fucking worked really, really hard for a really, really long time. You know what I mean? They most of them that are like obscenely rich are probably still in the process of working that hard. Let me give you an example. This just came to me just as I'm in the middle of this conversation. Warren Buffett. Many of you have probably heard that name. Most of you probably know that name. You may or may not know a whole lot about him. Warren Buffett is in his 80s. I don't know how old. Well, he might be 90 by now. I mean, Warren Buffett has outlived life expectancy by a long, long time. Warren Buffett's one of the wealthiest human beings on planet Earth, and he has been for a long, long time. Standard retirement age in the United States is supposed to be 65, if I'm not mistaken. Well, Warren Buffett has worked an entire extra career beyond 65 years old. Do you think that Warren Buffett could have just been totally fine retiring at 65 with the amount of money that he had, both liquid and in his investments, and had generations of his family completely set up financially? Yeah, easily. Warren Buffett could have retired a long fucking time ago. Warren Buffett could have retired 30 years ago, and as many generations as we could fucking count would be completely taken care of, not only just to get by, they would have enough money to live a lavish lifestyle for generations and generations. And he could have just been chilling for the last 30 plus years. He could have been he could have been doing whatever the fuck he wanted. Anything. Literally anything that you can fathom in your fucking mind, he could have been doing for the last 30 years. But what is he doing? He's still working his fucking ass off. Why? Because, and I won't speak for him, but I can make a pretty solid assumption, and I bet you if you were to, you probably find this in certain interviews of him, and I bet if you had the opportunity to talk to him himself, he would tell you the same thing. He has an overwhelming sense of joy from his sense of purpose. And the amount of work that he puts into things directly correlates with the amount of happiness that he gets as a result of it. It's not about money for people like him. Of course it's not about money for people like him. It's not about money for anybody who's got money like that. If you have billions of dollars, it's not about money for you anymore. Why would it be? You have literally unlimited funding. You can do whatever you want. With $1 billion, anything you want to do, you can do. And it won't put a fucking dent in your bank account. Think about that. Why are they still doing it? Why is LeBron James still playing basketball at the highest level? Why is LeBron James still the best basketball player in the NBA in his 18th season? He could have retired and just been chilling right now. He doesn't need any more money. The dude makes like $100 to $150 million a year with all of his different streams of income. Not to mention he's heavily active with investing. The amount of money that he has just sitting in investments that's just generating more and more and more wealth for him without doing anything is more than enough, for generations of his family to be completely set up. Why is he still playing basketball? Why is he still spending $1 million a year on recovery methods, things that keep him healthy, that keep him able to continue playing the sport at the highest level possible? Why is he still chasing rings? Why is he still trying to he has nothing to prove. He's got 4 championships. He's got 4 MVPs. Still possibility he could get a 5th MVP this year. The fuck else does he need? He's gonna, if he retired right now, he would have accomplished countless things that no one else in the history of basketball has ever accomplished. Why is he still playing? He's got all the money. He's got all the accolades. He's done everything. Why doesn't he just retire and just chill and spend time with his family and relax and go on vacation? Did you ever think about that? And I'm using him as an example, but I can give you tons of other ones. You can all think of tons of other ones. Cristiano Ronaldo, exact same situation. Why is he still playing? And why is he still one of the best in the entire world at it? And continuing to try to progress himself in his sport? Why? Why is he working himself to the fucking bone to do something that he's already accomplished everything you would ever need? Because of the sense of purpose, the sense of gratification and happiness that creates. This this nonsense that glorifying overworking and working hard and putting too much effort into things and all this other bullshit, the fact that people think that that's a toxic way to think is absolutely fucking comical, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying that society is headed in a direction where this is becoming more commonplace. I'm not claiming to be the hardest worker in the world. I'm not. I won't claim that. I'm not on the level of any of the people that I've mentioned in this podcast, period. I'm just not. But I damn sure put a lot of effort into everything that I do and that I care about. And the fact that my business is at the level that it's currently at and trending in an upward fashion is a direct result of the amount of work that I put into it. You won't hear me bitching about being underpaid or anything like that. Why? Because I don't have to worry about that. Because I fucking work hard enough to make sure that I don't have to think like that. I don't have to worry about that. You know, even just like that, like I mentioned about these fucking Jordan 1s that I bought as a result of their cheap price point, because that's all I could afford at the time. I was willing to sacrifice money to start something on my own that I knew would grow to a level that I didn't have to worry about money like that anymore. And I'm not there. I still worry about money all the time. Money's one of my biggest, stressors. But at the end of the day, I know that if I want more of it, it's directly correlated with the amount of fucking work that I put into this. That's all it is. That's all it ever is. I hear Bruce coming. Oh, here he is. Look who's here. My man. You want to hang out? I don't even care that this is an interruption. We're doing it raw tonight. We got the laundry making noise. We got the big guy coming in to hang out. All right, I'm not going to pet you. Just sit down. Lay down. I'm not editing any of this out. By the way, the dude's still having issues with his ear infection. For fuck's sake, I had to work my ass off to make enough money to afford to pay for all this dude's ear medications. Okay, he's over it. He's out. All right, see you later, bro. Oh, God, I love that guy. Anyway, I don't know. I don't remember where I left off. But, yeah, man, at the end of the fucking day, the beautiful thing about living in this country, or living really almost anywhere, in most places, is that you have the choice to do whatever the fuck you want. If you choose to sit on your fat ass and do nothing, you can do that and nobody's stopping you. If you choose to work your fingers to the fucking bone to achieve at a high level, you have the ability to do that. And if for whatever reason you think that you're spinning your wheels and you're working really, really hard for no reason, the simple solution would be to stop. Literally that simple. You can just stop. Get a different job. Don't have a job. You don't have to have a job. You don't have to have a job. You can go be homeless if you want. You can go live in government funded housing. They'll take care of you. I think it's absurd that they do, but they do. You don't have to do shit. Am I right? That's it. You have the ability to not, but to encourage people not to work hard, which is really kind of what all these memes have implied. And it's funny because I see some of these people who are actually pretty fucking hardworking, and people who also promote messages of the opposite, agreeing with and engaging with posts about this. These memes don't come out of nowhere. They come from an individual and then they get shared in a viral fashion to where you see them all the time. And there's a multitude of different people sharing this ideology, but I think a lot of people are completely misguided, that they don't even believe what they're saying, and they don't understand what that message actually promotes. Because really what that message promotes, the promotion of a message that is that we're glorifying overworking, and that we're doing a bunch of shit that is benefiting other people but not ourselves, and we're working really hard to no benefit of our own, but to benefit all these miraculous rich people, millionaires who just miraculously became millionaires overnight, yet are somehow business owners. or people who have high, executive style positions within these businesses, because apparently, those people probably just got off their couch one day and were given those positions, right? The fact that we're claiming things like this is just literally the promotion of being a lazy fuck. And what is that? Like, what exactly is that? Like, explain to me, if you're one of the people who's engaged positively with any of these posts or posted them yourself, I would love to get a description of what the alternative is. And the other thing is, I don't think anyone's really, we are glorifying it. I guess we are glorifying it. But give me a detailed description of what's bad about it. And then give me a detailed description of what you would rather see glorified. Because if it's the converse of that, you're really going to have a hard time explaining to me why those things are okay. Here's the other thing. You can work really, really fucking hard and still have enough time for quote unquote self-care and relaxation and occasional vacations and things like that. You can have one and the other. You can have both. But here's something to think about. I've been saying this for a really, really long time. This has actually caused a lot of tension in relationships that I've been in, and a lot of, not arguments, but debates with just friends, casual, in casual conversations. But the way I've always viewed things like vacation, my whole life I've never had a lot of vacations. I've been on vacations, don't get me wrong, but there's been very, very few at any point in my life from my childhood on where myself and or my family have just taken an entire week or longer to go somewhere and just get away and relax and be on vacation for that sole purpose. Meaning, like, there's nothing else attached to this particular trip. It's not a work trip where we're staying an extra day and enjoying the scenery or whatever. I don't call that, that's not vacation. That's work where you're giving yourself a little extra time. I've had a couple of those in my entire life, and I have no regrets about that. And as an adult where I've been on my own, I don't do any, I don't know that I've had, in the last decade, I've had none. I've had no vacations. I've had zero actual, like, what people would qualify as a legitimate vacation. I have never once in the last 10 years of my life picked up and gone somewhere for the sole purpose of a vacation. Not once. And I have no regrets about that. I've gone on trips where I have done work and spent a little bit of extra time doing vacation-like things, and that's all I need. And quite frankly, that's all I can tolerate. It's all I want. And my philosophy on that is that a vacation should be, and I'll give you a detailed explanation of why I believe this. Again, this is my opinion. I'm not forcing this on anybody else, but I do want to get your guys' wheels spinning a little bit on this. And so anyway, a vacation is, or should be, a celebration of accomplishment. It should be, I did this, and this. I worked really, really, really hard. I overcame these different obstacles and achieved this. And for that reason, I want to go celebrate that. Not, and this is what I think 90+% of vacations actually are. Not, fuck, my life kind of sucks. I'm stressed out because of the reality of what my life is like. I need to escape this reality for an extended period of time and go somewhere and avoid all the things that haunt me on a daily basis. That's what I think 90+% of people's vacations entail. They hate their life. Maybe they don't hate their life. They don't like their job. They're stressed out about this and that. They need to escape their reality to be on vacation. There's no celebratory component to it. In which case, what are you doing? Like, what are these vacations doing for you? One, you're probably missing out on work, which is probably going to put you in an even deeper financial situation that's going to be, hard for you to get out of. You're going to come home to exponentially more work than you're trying to escape in the first place, right? Most cases, that's probably what's happening. You're probably in a state of anxiety while you're on this vacation thinking, fuck, what am I missing out on at home or at work or whatever that I'm going to regret missing out on once I get back? So really, you're probably spending your entire vacation in a state of anxiety thinking about what the fuck you're missing and what you're you're counting down the seconds to when you do have to go back to your reality and dreading it so horribly that all you can think about is what the fuck am I going to have to do once this is over? Do you enjoy that? Like, do you even enjoy your vacation when that's your actual reality? Because I definitely don't. If I were to go on a extended period of a vacation, let's say a minimum of a week in a different state, on the beach, in a different country, whatever it is, just for the sake of escaping my own reality here, I would get no enjoyment out of that. I would literally be in a constant state of anxiety, like, fuck, I'm missing out on opportunities to achieve more. I'm going to come home to more work that I'm going to be overwhelmed by. There's people trying to get a hold of me for things that could be benefiting my life right now, and I'm avoiding that because I want to sit on a fucking beach and stare at water. That's vacation. If you're going on vacation for the purposes of escaping reality. Now, if you plan things far enough ahead and you say, okay, if I do this, this, and this, if I hit this, this, or this goal within my career or whatever it is, and work diligently to achieve those specific things, and maybe I need to, there's a promotion, there's, the availability of a new promotion that's presenting itself at the end of this quarter. I want to be the fucking person that gets that promotion. Let's say you get that promotion, and then you plan a vacation accordingly because you fucking achieved it. You did it. You worked really hard to achieve something, and now you've achieved it. Now you can go celebrate it. You know what I mean? That's fun. You've accomplished something. You've taken yourself to a new level that justifies celebration. That's great. Something like that. Maybe you have a sales goal. Like if you own a business the way I do, if you beat your financial numbers for X amount of months in a row or whatever. And again, I don't even do any of this shit because I'm not at a level where I can justify going on a vacation like this. Those are the things that would make vacation enjoyable because you're there because you did something, you achieved something. You know what I mean? Again, I'll revert back to professional athletes, for example. I'll go back to LeBron. Let's say in the off season after the 2019 season where he was hurt. He was hurt most of the season, a lot of the season. He was playing with a bunch of young kids, basically. And, 2018, 2019, they didn't make the playoffs. Do you think that the vacations that he went on, now again, keep in mind, he's a multimillionaire. There's a little bit of a difference between him and you. He's already accomplished enough to where he can go on vacation and not have to probably think much. But which would you think would be more enjoyable for him? Not make the playoffs, not achieve at a very high level, fall short of all of the goals that he had in mind, and then go on vacation to escape that reality, or at the end of 2020, after winning a championship and achieving a bunch of things that people said he was never going to be capable of doing and overcoming obstacles and doing all these things and accomplishing all these things, do you think vacation would be a little bit fucking sweeter for somebody who did that? For LeBron after he did that? Which situation do you think he would enjoy a vacation or an escape from his normal daily activities? Which would be more enjoyable for him? Think rationally, man. If you're sitting around not doing shit and you're miserable about life, the last fucking thing you need to be doing is going on trips, going on vacation. You don't have shit to celebrate. You don't have shit to do. You're literally there for an escape, when in reality, you could create a better life for yourself that you don't want to escape all the time. If you just put some fucking work into it. That's it, man. That's literally it. That's all. And listen, any successful person, and I don't even claim to be one of these people. I think I'm on my way. But if you want to talk to people who are truly, genuinely, objectively fucking successful beyond what the average person is, Talk to any single one of them, and the recurring theme on how did you accomplish this? How did you get to this point? How did you afford that beautiful car that I wish I had? How did you afford that lavish vacation that you went on that I'm jealous of? How did you afford this incredible house that you live in? How did you get to do all these things? How did you pull this all off? The central thesis of every single one of those people, the recurring concept that will reside within every one of their answers, is going to be that I worked really, really, really fucking hard. Not one of them will say, I don't know. I mean, I kind of just, like, I went on vacation every year with my family, and I made sure to prioritize self-care, and I made sure to relax a lot. And, I put in the, bare minimum amount of work. I kind of just went through the motions. I showed up. I did what I had to do. And then I kind of just made sure to focus on me after that. 0% of them will ever say that. None of them will ever say that. You want to talk to the most miserable fucking people in the world. And I know a lot of miserable fucking people. And I'm sure everyone that sees or hears this podcast can attest to this. Talk to any of the most miserable people in the world and ask them what their accomplishments are and how hard they worked. And I guarantee you the central theme there is always going to be, I didn't do enough. I sold myself short. I did less than I was capable of. And therefore I'm in this position. And you know what? At the end of the day, they won't say that. That's the reality. That's the truth. They won't say that. They're going to give you a bunch of fucking excuses. They're going to give you a bunch of, they won't actually say it. Now that I think of it, now that I'm articulating this out loud, they won't say any of that. The central theme of what they're going to say is a bunch of fucking excuses. It's going to be a bunch of reasons why other underlying circumstances that have nothing to do with them kept them from achieving at whatever level they wanted to be at. That's what they're going to say. It's bullshit. It's complete nonsense. But that's what they'll say to try to save face and try to give themselves justification for not doing anything. But at the end of the day, the reason that the most miserable people in the world are in the situation that they're in, did you hear Bruce's ears? Is because they didn't fucking do anything. You know what I mean? And sure, there are outlier situations on both ends. I'm not going to spend a whole lot more time on this, but there's outlier situations on both ends. There are people who inherited shitloads of money at a young age and didn't have to do anything. And so, yeah, they have a bunch of luxuries and they can do whatever they want. They don't have to work hard and they have cool things. But I also bet you if you ask those people, and I think there's probably somewhere out there, there's probably somebody a hell of a lot smarter than me that could put this into perspective for you with, more data rather than these assumptions that I'm going to give you here. But I guarantee you those quote unquote rich people who did nothing to accomplish their wealth, such as inheriting money, winning the lottery or whatever, I guarantee you those people are exponentially less happy than the people who actually achieved their success. And on the other end, yeah, there might be some people who really have no control over their destiny. Outliers. It's very, very, very few. It's like, maybe you're an autistic person. Maybe maybe because of their ailment or genetic anomaly or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, maybe they just really genuinely don't possess the skills necessary or the comprehension of what it would entail to work really, really hard to achieve at a really high level. But again, to give you the exact converse of the person who inherited money or won a bunch of money or whatever, I can also tell you that people like that, generally speaking, are probably also very, very happy people that aren't complaining about people who are working hard. I don't think people like that are going to go around, pissing and moaning and bitching about the fact that it's an admirable trait to be a hardworking individual. So again, yeah, if you want to focus on the outliers, like people who really genuinely don't have the same opportunities as everybody else, and you want to go into those situations or whatever, you can do that. You can focus on those things all you want. But does it actually pertain to your life in any way, shape, or form? No, it definitely doesn't. And so it's pointless to even consider. Every fucking able-bodied, able-minded individual on this in this country, I'll speak for this country exclusively, has the opportunity to do whatever they want with their life and achieve at whatever level that they want and have however much money they want to have. You have the opportunity to do that. If you also have the choice not to. But at the end of the day, oh, Bubba's back. You're a star. You know that? You're a star. Why don't you just lay down though? I love this guy so much. Hey, lay down for real. You're interrupting. You're a sweet boy, but you need to lay down. This is the one, and I won't say the only, but this is one time where I'm actually happy that he's coming in and hanging out and interrupting. I love it. And I hope everybody that watches this does too. The people who are only listening, on streaming it on Spotify, might not love it because doesn't have the same effect when you can't see him. Anyway, yeah. Nobody's going to judge you if you don't want to do anything to progress your life, but you do have the opportunity to. Like I said, every able-bodied and able-minded individual has the opportunity to pursue anything that they want, so long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. And in that pursuit, the amount of work, both the difficulty of the work, the level of effort that you put into the work, and the intellect behind that work will be directly correlated with your success in whatever that endeavor is. And so you have the opportunities to do it. If you think that you're being oppressed to a point that you're not capable, fuck yourself. It's a lie. Don't let anybody tell you any of that bullshit. Anything that you hear through the media or social media or any of these toxic fucking people who truly believe that you, individually, whoever you are watching or listening to this, don't have the opportunity to literally do anything that you want based on any different aspect of who you are, race, gender, appearance, etc., is a fucking liar. And you need to just immediately tune out, ignore that bullshit, and decide what you want to do with yourself. Because I can also tell you that anybody that's telling you that probably hasn't achieved a lot and probably won't achieve a lot. Simple as that. So, anyway, not going to go a whole lot further with this. I'm probably going to turn all this shit off and then immediately think of stuff that I wish I would have said, but, such is life. So, thanks to everybody who tuned in on the live video, which, by the way, I did the live video on my business page, my Seidel Nutrition Instagram page. And I did that. Now, you would normally do it on my Sidetracked Instagram page. But I obviously have a much bigger following on the business page, and I believe that everything that I mentioned in this video pertains as much or more to, the Seidel Nutrition whatever, than it does to the Sidetracked page. So anyway, I'll get a little bit more engagement. Hopefully this message will get across to more people as a result of doing it on that page. Typically I will be doing the live videos on the Sidetracked page, but again, today I decided to do it on the Seidel Nutrition page for that reason, because it is pertinent to, my business has obviously a lot of relevance to the, what I'm posting or what this podcast is about and everything else. So anywho, I would love for anybody who watches or listens to this that disagrees with me to, by all means, please contact me and we'll have a discussion about it. Frankly, if I deem you worthy of it, I'll bring you on and we can debate it right here. You can sit in this spot and I'll sit in my standard spot and we can sit here and have a whole conversation and record it as a fucking podcast. I don't think you want to do that, but I hope somebody does. I really genuinely hope somebody does. I think that'll stir up some cool content. So anyway, that's it. I'm not going to ramble any further. Again, thank you to the people who watched the live. Thank you to the people who were watching, on YouTube and then also streaming the audio. So cool. That's it.